Okay, Rockers, Turbo back here with you inside the asylum, and this week I have a guest I'm very honored to have with me by phone. So many times over the years, the one member on stage, often overlooked, is the one we all hear throughout the entire show, and that is the drummer. Well, joining me right now, I'm very honored to be joined by none other than Matt Thompson, drummer for King Diamond. Matt, how are you, man?
I'm great, man. Thank you, Turbo. That was an amazing intro. Thank you.
You're very welcome. And hey, it's the truth. You know, you guys behind the kit, you guys get lost during the set, and yet you are usually the most prominent members of a band during the entire show, and yet, you are. You guys are hiding behind kits most of the show.
I completely agree. I've been always watching the drummer on every show that I've ever been to since I was a kid, and they are clearly the most important person on stage, the most animated, the most fun to watch, and we deserve to make the most money, but it's just not the case.
Well, you guys do trying to keep the rhythm going, so I could go with the argument on money, but I'm not gonna fuel any fires, shall we say. And also I want to take a moment and also congratulate you on your recent engagement. I saw that yesterday on Facebook, and congrats on that as well.
Thank you so much. I wish Scarlett Johansson would stop calling now. I'm trying to, I have my people calling her people to tell her to stop calling. It's just day and night.
Well, you can tell her people that she can call me. I'll be glad to take Scarlett Johansson off your hands.
Oh, just to get her off my back. Thank you.
Anytime, man. Hey, we gotta look out for each other in the music world, man. So, listen, like I said, drummers don't often get their chance to talk and express and, tell where they got their start. And,
wait a minute, Turbo, can you repeat that? Sorry, can you repeat that?
Yeah. I was saying that drummers don't often get the chance to talk about their start and their influences. And reading up on you, I mean, you've done it all in the world of drumming. And I've just got to ask, what made you decide way back when you first started doing music that drumming was going to be your thing?
That's a very easy answer. It comes down to one moment. Well, that's kind of. But I started when I was 8 because the guys in the neighborhood. There was one guy who was a year older than us. He was the only guy in our group of friends who was older than us, so we kind of look up to that. And he played the drums, so we all started playing the drums. And then I started taking lessons when I was 9. I wanted to quit by the end of my my 9th year because I was sick of carrying. At that time, to be a drummer, it meant that you carried this huge box onto the bus every day, and it was a snare drum and a stand for the snare drum and a music stand and books all in this box. It was heavy, for a 4th grader. So I wanted to quit. My mom wouldn't let me quit. So I kept on going, and I was kind of pissed off with it. But then I started to enjoy music a little more when I was around 10, because of 2 albums, Permanent Waves and I think Pink Floyd The Wall. They were both bought for me on my 10th birthday. And I started really getting into that stuff, and I started really getting into Rush and Neil Peart and drums. Okay, so anyway, by the time 1982 came around, I was in the Rush backstage club, and everything they ever did up until that point. And my dad, who was an engineer at National Public Radio for 25 years, had some connections in the business, and he was able to get me backstage to my first Rush concert, which was in 1982, and that was it. That was the time. At the end of the show, we watched some of it from backstage, and I was like 10 feet behind Neil Peart watching this, and then my hero at that time, and we went out front, and we were like in the front row, and then we had all access, so then we went to like the back of the Spectrum. Isn't it at the Spectrum in Philly? There used to be a thing called the Spectrum in Philly. Yeah, but we went all the way to the back, and got to see the whole show with the lasers pointing out. It creamed me, man. It was just unbelievable. It was the first real religious experience I've ever had, and that was it. Yeah. After the show, I was standing behind Neil Peart's drums and just looking at it, and I was like, "This is what I am going to do."
Wow, I mean that is just, that's just like the way, everyone should kind of get into doing whatever it is that they do. That one experience, it just blows them away, and it's like, yeah, I want to do that. And Rush have influenced so many over the years, and I'm old enough to remember that there was a Spectrum in Philly. I was over there, but I am old enough to remember it, so I caught that reference there. And I know tons of people saw great shows there, and Rush just one of the great bands that influenced so many, and great to hear that Neil Peart had such an influence on you. And what do you think about Rush? Calling it a day. Now here they are, 41 years in, and that's it. Is that, as a fan, is that something maybe you saw coming? Because it seems everyone, even within the industry, seemed a little surprised by it.
Well, to be honest, I stopped really buying their albums and following every tour kind of a long time ago,
Mm-hmm.
I saw them after I moved to Texas. I saw them a few more times after that. I missed their last tour, unfortunately. I was on tour. But at this point, if they want to stop and celebrate, God, they earned it, man. What a career. Neil, you can only, the fact that he kept going after what happened to that guy.
Sure.
That he kept going at all. After that happened, I considered everything they did as extra.
Yeah, no, I totally get that. And I know you were on tour during that R40 tour. I can tell you, recommend to you the R40 Blu-ray that they put out of the show. I have it. It's just, it's a phenomenal Blu-ray, and that's coming from someone who I only know random stuff from Rush. I'm not a die-hard know-all of Rush, and I bought that Blu-ray, and it literally blew me away. So if you, in all seriousness, I know, as I said, you had said you were on tour. Check out that R40 Blu-ray because it was just amazingly well done.
Cool, man. Yeah, I guess I need to check it out. I saw the set list, and just that was just amazing, And when I saw that set list, I was like, oh man, they are celebrating their career, and I'm missing it. But I've seen them 19 times, so there's only so bad I can feel about it.
Oh, gee, that's all? 19? That's it?
Yeah, 19. Yeah. I should have gone for the 20th time, right? And rounded it out, but yeah.
Alright, it's like 19 is, I'm sure, many more than some others, and I'm sure each one has its own unique memory for you.
Well, starting in 82, starting in 82, I saw them every time they played in Philadelphia. And back then they would play twice in a row because rock concerts were big.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, they were a big deal back then, and you got two nights in a row on some shows in certain areas, and that kind of brings me around to, of course, where you are now, one of your current homes, behind the kit for the Mighty King Diamond, the Abigail Fall Tour, round down late last year. And talk about back-to-back nights. You guys had 3 nights in a row sell out here in the New York area, 2 sellouts in LA, everyone around the country going nuts. You guys were also out on Mayhem Festival. What's it been like for you personally, and for what you could tell of the rest of the band with this, such a huge return for King Diamond
Yeah,
in the States?
yeah, definitely. And I don't think any of us really could have predicted how big it got. You know, I think the break was really unfortunate,
Mm-hmm.
because King's health problems. But for his legend and for the buzz, I guess all the kids are calling, for that to be built up, it was actually, I think, beneficial to take that break. Maybe I don't. I mean, I don't know that, but for
Right.
certain, it went up. From the time we stopped touring. But I have to say, the momentum was starting to build up. The shows we did in 2006 in Europe, as opposed to 2001, were bigger. And the shows we did in the U.S. in 2005, as opposed to 2003, were bigger.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it was starting to go up, and the Puppet Master was getting some respect, which it was getting respect from some old schoolers.
Sure.
Some old school King Diamond fans, they don't want to hear anything after Conspiracy, some even after them, right? And so these new albums are starting to get some respect. And then we were nominated for a Grammy for "Give Me Your Soul, Please" in 2007. So the momentum was heading in an upward direction, and I think the break, it just continued in that upward direction. And there were things that happened in that break, like King was on a Metallica Guitar Hero, and then he went and did the Merciful Fate reunion in San Francisco with Metallica, that whole thing that they did, and then he went on stage with Metallica in here in Texas, for the Ozfest. So I think those helped too. They kind of just kept the momentum going, man. And then when we came back in 2012, here's where King was just brilliant, man. He really threw everything into stage production. I guess he's got the confidence in us to play well. So the next step is the show. And if you look at the show now, it's just so amazing, man. Yeah, he's constructed a satanic church, man. And it's huge and it's bright and beautiful and gorgeous, and it complements the music in a perfect way. I think he was finally able to really put his vision, to work on stage, So I think that helped too. And also, playing these big shows and big festivals and these successful shows, we're all having a great time. It's like a family reunion, and we have a great time on stage, and I think that translates into the audience.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely does. I mean, I first saw you guys, King Diamond, actually last year at Mayhem Festival, and I missed the first U.S. New York show at the then Best Buy Theater the year before, and then when I heard that you guys were on Mayhem, I was like, alright, this is perfect. And I had heard the
Is that Jones Beach?
What, huh?
Jones Beach, is that right?
No, PNC. At the PNC Bank Arts Center in New Jersey.
Oh, okay.
And I mean,
yeah.
Yeah, it was just, I was blown away because, like you said, there was this huge stage show and I knew the music and I had heard the stories. But then when you guys came out and it was, as you said, this giant, like, church on stage, I was like, now I get it. Now I see why it's selling out in New York for nights in a row, in LA for nights in a row, because what you guys do is what many bands today seem to forget, is that today some of the bands either give you a great stage show and no stage, or a great stage but no good performance.
Okay.
And you guys manage to wrap it all together perfectly. And I think that's really a credit to you guys as musicians, but also to your love of what you do as well.
Hmm. Well, that's cool. Well, thanks for that.
Very, very welcoming. And I know the Abigail tour was going to be recorded for a DVD Blu-ray. Did that still happen, or did that change? Because I heard about it, and then it like disappeared.
Yeah, I don't think it's disappeared. I'm not really sure exactly what's going on. I kind of try to stay out of that, especially now that we have a tour coming up.
Oh, that's right.
At this point in the time frame, we're about a month and a half out from starting rehearsals. So I have to imagine that King and the management, they're buried in logistics right now.
Sure.
The planning and pre-work that goes into a tour, even a tour like this, we're only doing. I'm going there for the first one. We're doing 7 shows in a little less than a month, but they're shows, and there's a lot of travel, and it's crew members who are all over the world at the moment, and it makes your head spin to think what they have to do to get it ready, man. So I'm not going to bug them with DVD questions.
No,
You know what I mean?
Yeah, of course, man. I totally would get that. And you guys are getting ready to go out and do the same Abigail tour over in Europe, correct?
Yeah, that's right. As far as I know, it's exactly the same state. Exactly the same set. But I don't know. It's also likely that we'll change a couple of things up, because it's a different tour. But I think so. Yeah.
That's cool. And what was it? What was it like for you to play Abigail from beginning to end on this tour? Because it wasn't an album that you were on when it was recorded.
No, it's not. No, it's Mickey D, man.
Right.
It's the defining. To me, Abigail is the defining. Well, most people will say Grandma, from them.
Right.
But for me, Abigail is the defining album, man. It was just magic. It's magic in the studio from beginning to end. Even the outtakes, all of it. Even the unmastered outtakes are just like, these guys are on fire, and there's a reason why it's regarded as the best King Diamond material, I guess. I love it all. I happen to love, having played all, songs from all the eras.
Mm-hmm.
I happen to love it all. I think, we played. We were playing a song from the Spider's Lullaby, kind of checking it out for a while, and it was we had to scrap it for some reason. I'm not really sure. I think it was like show logistics or something. But God, I fell in love with the tune. Some of these songs from the '90s, I would listen to them, and I'm like, yeah, it's pretty cool. It's not the old stuff. But then I play it, and I see the genius in it. But I'm sorry, I'm not answering the question at all. So the first thing that stands out about playing the Abigail. Oh, that's cool, man. Sorry, I'm rambling. The first thing that definitely comes to mind is what an honor it is to be trusted with the drum parts of this classic heavy album. To put that in my hands, Mickey D's parts on one of the timeless classics and all of heavy metal. I'm not the kind of person that takes life very seriously, but that is something, that I knew right away I had to take seriously. And as soon as I heard that we were going to be doing that, I went back and made sure to do my homework, get some of the important things that Mickey did in there, because to me, drum parts, there are some drum parts by some drummers that are, and I've said this before in other interviews, I'll say it again, as important to the song as a melody that David Gilmour puts down in Pink Floyd. If you're a guitar player playing for Roger Waters solo, there are some things you have to play that are from the Gilmour solos, because they're so melodic and so, I guess, just iconic. People listen to it, and they really need to hear that. Like imagine it's like, okay, the fill in and Welcome Home. Imagine it instead of that, I went.
Right. People would go nuts.
I'd be fired,
Yeah.
That's not cool. So yeah, I mean that's an extreme example.
Right. No. Yeah. No. But I get what you're saying. It's kind of when AJ Pirro, when we lost AJ Pirro a year ago, there was a lot of talk about his drumming of we're not going to take it being like the one of the most recognizable drum openings in metal history. And so I get what you're saying about you want to get those little parts right, because when you break it down, when people listen to it, they may not sit there and gush over it, but if you missed it live, you would find out that maybe they didn't gush over it originally, but they knew it was there and they would notice it was missing. So you want to make sure that that you have everything right. And what I gotta ask, was there any point in going back and revisiting Abigail to familiarize with it? Did you listen to it and go, how the hell did he do that?
No, not really with Mickey. I mean, his influence are like, as far as I can tell, Neil Peart, Ian Pace, Cozy Powell. Back then, and he was a kid, and there's nothing that's like. I don't think it's the wrong way, but I had just come out of jazz college and I was transcribing Elvin Jones.
Oh wow!
So, like transcribing Elvin Jones and then having to play those transcriptions note for note. To me, that's challenging. But that's not the. And I don't want to be taken the wrong way. I mean, physically and mentally, to pick apart what Mickey was doing and to play it on a drum set, that's not hard. The genius is what he came up with and the composition. Those things. Yeah, I think it requires a pretty high level of chops to pull off. But I mean, for me to be the drummer of King Diamond, I mean, it's kind of expected that I'm going to have those kind of chops, right? That's kind of got to be a given. And hopefully, that's not being taken the wrong way.
No, not at all. Not at all. I get what you're saying.
Yeah, so the genius on those albums is what he played. If you start to analyze and pick apart his drum compositions, he'll introduce themes in the beginning of the song that he'll develop and complete throughout the course of the song. Without getting too heady about it, like I don't know, it's kind of explaining, like there's a lot of different places where he'll start a section of a song one way, and then the next time that section comes up, he'll develop it a little bit, but very musically, and the next time it comes up, he'll like complete the phrase. You know what I mean?
Right, I got you. It's
I think this is.
Yeah, it's like.
Yeah, I think this is one of the things that makes Mickey just so awesome.
Right.
The way he plays, his instincts are very musical and I think compositional.
Right.
It's very possible if he hears this interview, he might be like, "What the hell? What the hell is he talking about? I just played when I was drunk." No, I don't know. But I mean it, man. I mean, it's true. That's what he does.
Right. And I get what you're saying. Well, you do it comes in one way, and then you don't want to get back to it and sound repetitive. So it's a whole different way of getting into something different, but it's the same. I know it's hard to explain because I've had similar situations. I have a background in TV production, and so I know from an artistic standpoint there are different ways, ins and outs of doing things, and I know it overlaps into other areas of art, like artists, areas like drumming and guitar. So I get where you're coming from with that. And I want to segue real quick. I know you're busy, but I want to talk a little bit about your other band, Shaolin Death Squad, and talk about night and day. From King Diamond to Shaolin Death Squad, musically, I mean, how did, well, I don't want to go back to how did Shaolin Death Squad happen, but, because you guys have been around for many, many years, but what's it like for you when you go out with King Diamond and then you come home and you switch gears to Shaolin Death Squad? Is that an easy switch for you? Is it just like blowing switch, or do you need time to get out of King Diamond mode to get into Shaolin Death Squad mode?
No, I don't think so, man. I'm pretty. I've kind of a logical brain when it comes to that stuff. To make switches, they're all very tangible adjustments that need to be made, and it's just all in your head. I got to bring the stroke heights down. I'm playing in smaller rooms. I can't just lay into the crash cymbals. But those are easy adjustments. But this time around, Shaolin just did 3 shows, and it was our first time in 2 years because King's been touring almost solidly.
Right.
And thank you, Shaolin Death Squad, so much for being so patient with me. But this time around,
when the day job comes calling, sometimes you don't have a choice but to put the secondary band on hold. It's a sad,
well, they understand.
It's a sad fact.
They have to.
The industry.
Well, they got to understand.
Yeah.
If they don't understand that I got to go play with King Diamond, in Europe or across the country, and they can go scratch. You hear me, Shaolin Death Squad? You can go scratch. So anyway, the difficulty in the adjustment just lay in learning the songs again. We just put out an EP, and I had to kind of relearn. I went over them a few times, and then I had it.
Cool.
What? Sorry, I'm talking to my daughter.
Future metalhead daughter right there with you there. But
we'll see how.
Yeah, she's got her genes in her, and many years from now, maybe I'll be interviewing her for her work in the world of rock and metal. Who knows?
If I have anything to do with it, you'll be interviewing for her work in the world of engineering or medical or.
I hear you, man. No, I hear you. I hear you.
She can be whatever.
Go ahead.
Be whatever she wants.
That's it, man. It's what it's all about. Listen, I know you got to run, and I appreciate the time. I got to ask you one last King Diamond related thing. I'm sure the answer is probably similar to when we discussed the DVD, but I did hear rumblings of possibly new King Diamond coming in the near future. Can you say anything about that? Is that being discussed?
I can say something about that, but I won't.
Yeah. I love it. See, that's what I love. Make it.
Sorry, man. No, I can't. I don't want to.
No, dude, it's all good. Look, I had to ask. I know everyone's waiting and itching for new King Diamond now that the surge is there and everyone's getting out there and hearing it all over again, and so that's why I had to ask.
I think the Mayhem tour put us behind schedule on a few things.
Okay.
And because the Mayhem tour, that was a big block of time where all these things were going to be addressed, but then the Mayhem tour came around, and we didn't want to turn that down. I know King didn't want to turn it down. opening for Slayer. You know, I think we played in front of a lot of people that we would otherwise not play in front of. And so I totally agree with that decision. The one thing I will say is all in good time, man. If it, you know, whatever will be, will be. The future's okay.
That's perfect. That is perfect, man. Matt Thompson, thank you for taking the time out to join me here inside the Asylum. Matt, before you go, I always have my guests pick out a song for my listeners to hear. You've got King Diamond, you've got Shaolin Death Squad. The choice is yours. I'll play it. Just give it to me.
Wait, that song that I played on?
Any song that you've played on that you maybe want people to hear, a favorite of yours, or you know, something along that line.
Do you have do you have Five Deadly Venoms by Shaolin Death Squad?
I have it, and I will play it. Then I want you to play the song "Peace Be Unto You." Peace Be Unto You from Shaolin Death Squad. Any backstory behind that one to go with it? Or?
Yes.
Go ahead.
Yes, this is my arrangement. This is music from my childhood, so I arranged it for for heavier, you know, application. And a little bit of trivia. I'm playing the guitar solo at the end, the hammer-ons, right?
Cool.
And I'm using all ride cymbals. There's no crash. So I'm using ride cymbals for crash.
Oh, that is awesome! Everyone, get ready for this. Check this out: Shaolin Death Squad. Peace be unto you. Right now, here inside the Asylum.
Hi-ya!